now that you all have learned how to be zombies in your thriller dance, now is time to learn to protect yourself against zombies. To begin with, let's talk about the modern pro-zombie movement. This is something that I don't quite understand, because I certainly understand the desire to dress up, but we're humans. It's us or them. Why would you believe in equal brains for equal works? Why would you want to imitate a zombie? If nothing else, this is only going to make it more difficult to be able to identify real zombies in the upcoming zombie apocalypse. Accordingly, what I'm here for today is to help you prepare to protect yourself from zombies. We're going to talk about this in 4 easy steps. To begin with, knowing your zombies, being able to identify your zombies and tell them apart. Second off, fortifying your defenses, being able to make sure that you are prepared. We're going to discuss strength in numbers, and finally we're going to discuss some basic preparedness tips. So let's start off with knowing your zombies. We're all familiar with fast zombies. Generally in the movies and in the books, the fast zombies are caused by some sort of disease, usually a virus. The major danger here, speed, agility, these are the ones that can open locks, so on and so forth. These are the zombies that have retained some sense of their own brains. In some fiction, they're the zombies that are freshest, so they're the fastest. Your best defenses here are very good barriers and also ranged weapons, because with a ranged weapon, you're not going to want to get anywhere near a fast zombie because it's going to be able to cross the distance. So hand-to-hand combat, not so much. Ranged weapons, far better. As illustrated, some fictional examples, 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later, Left 4 Dead, so on and so forth. Really, anything made in the past 5 or 6 years generally is fast zombies rather than slow zombies. Now, slow zombies is you're more familiar with from the classics, for example, Shaun of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead. Generally, no one knows what causes them. Space rays, it might be disease. It's not really discussed. No one really cares. Your best weapons here, your dangers here rather, are hordes. You can pretty much handle one slow zombie on your own, no big deal. But 30 of them, that's where the danger is. Your best weapons here, you can certainly do melee weapons. You can certainly do ranged weapons, although more likely you're just going to draw more to you, so melee, hand-to-hand combat style weapons, knives, etc., better. And very sturdy barriers. For example, a little fence isn't going to do much against a horde of zombies. And we've already discussed a couple of the fictional examples. Now, of course, there are things that are commonly mistaken as zombies, so you'll want to make sure that you don't make these mistakes. To begin with, politicians. Very common mistake. They both eat brains, they both eat your intelligence, not actually a zombie. Second off, corporate drones. Not actually a zombie either. We don't see many of them in this floor, but in the other floors in our building, definitely a danger. And finally, of course, high schoolers. Generally, if they can engage in conversation, even if it's not intelligent conversation, they're probably high schoolers and not actually zombies. Now, a second danger, as I mentioned earlier, is zombie imposters. These are the people who are pretending to be zombies for whatever reason. It might be a pro-zombie movement, it might be trying to blend in with other zombies, but either way, again, do your best to engage them in conversation. If you can't, or if they're actually going for your brains, then you know they are in fact real zombies. So let's do a brief discussion. To begin with, weapons. Your basic melee weapons are anything like axes, knives, pretty much anything that you can find that you might be able to use for a weapon. I did a little bit of scouting earlier and found this brick. Solid weapon. We're also, of course, familiar with ranged weapons. This is going to be your bow and arrow, your guns, crossbows, anything that you project some sort of projectile. In general, I recommend something that is quiet as possible. For example, this particular gun would make a lot of noise and draw more zombies to you, which is fine in some scenarios, but certainly a danger, and you don't want to waste bullets. So just as you're preparing your zombie defense plan, be aware that you don't want to exclusively rely on firearms. In terms of barriers, we've already discussed fences. I recommend fences with razor wire on the top, but a solid brick foundation and possibly a moat or something that you can periodically clear of zombie corpses. You also want to have regular stations at the top so that you can eliminate the zombie threat as it's coming towards your fence. In terms of hand-to-hand combat, you definitely want to make sure to have some solid physical gear. For example, I personally find motorcycle jackets to be very solid, because with a motorcycle jacket, you generally have Kevlar. They're pretty tight to your body, especially in the summer. They're very breathable. You can also use a solid leather jacket such as this one. If it protected a cow, it's probably going to protect you just fine. Now, let's discuss strength in numbers, because friends are great. You are probably not going to survive the zombie apocalypse without some kind of ally. However, an ally turns into an enemy when they're bitten. So I highly recommend, even if they say they're fine, don't trust them, because at the point where you've been bitten by a zombie, you're probably going to do anything you can to survive. Which isn't to say put a bullet in their brain immediately, but instead what I recommend doing is putting them into quarantine. It's possible they were bitten by a dog or something else, and you don't want to accidentally kill a human. Finally, let's talk a little bit about basic preparedness. Some elements up here you can see my basic survival kits. Among other things, you're welcome to look on this. Duct tape, towel. I have a dog, so dog food, dog bowl. If you have children, diapers, so on and so forth. Food, etc. You're welcome to look through this. It all fits in there. I have a first aid kit as well. Just some basic items so that you can make sure that you're prepared. There's a ready-made emergency kit. You can buy them all over. It's a good idea even if, say, you're in a hurricane. You also want to make sure that your weapons are good to fit into your survival pack. So for example, this staff makes a pretty solid weapon, but it is collapsible. So I can just stick it in the side. And I'm not going to disassemble it all the way because I rather like it being assembled. You also want to make sure that you are aware of your surroundings. We spend 40 hours a week in this office. So what would you do if zombies attacked right now? What would you grab? Where would you go? Or let's say that you're going out to dinner. You're at a restaurant. What would you grab? Where would you go? What is your plan to survive? So let's talk a little bit about preparedness. Any weapon that you choose, whether it be a firearm, whether it be a crossbow, whether it be hand-to-hand combat, you have to make sure that you are practicing regularly in order to be efficient with it. So for example, if firearms are a part of your zombie defense plan, be sure that you're getting out to an area frequently and practicing your headshots, your brain shots, so on and so forth. Accuracy is key. Now, of course, because this is a training scenario, and I am the training manager, we have to do a little bit of practice. Zombie apocalypse happens right now. You have enough time to grab 3 items. What are they, and what is your escape plan?
I grabbed Susie, put her in front of me.
I was going to say, I think I grabbed you.
Right.
The first time I did this exercise, I was with someone who is far more of a survivalist than I am, and I said, that's easy, I'd just grab him. Phil?
I think I'd rip one of those logs off that, and I'd probably go back there. Because I feel like most humans are out here, and that's where the zombies
door
would
back
get
there
to.
doesn't locks. So if you're in there and somebody gets stuck with you, there's no out.
Well, I haven't thought it through. Just gonna go in there.
So Phil would go in there, and then I'd distract all the zombies to go in there. And I'd go in there. That door opens.
Are they slow zombies or fast zombies?
It doesn't matter, you don't know.
Yes, that's better than
I'd run for the exit.
So for me personally, I would certainly grab my survival kit. I would classify my staff as my melee weapon. I'm already wearing my motorcycle jacket, so I don't need to worry about that. I would find some kind of blocking mechanism, maybe something like the trash can, you know, just something that I can shove zombies away with. In terms of my exit strategy, I would probably also go down that staircase, like Phil.
Boom.
I'm just saying, you guys are getting me in.
No, we can go.
I'm gonna direct everybody there.
I would,
Flashing lights.
You're dead.
well, keep in mind that that staircase is different from these staircases, and I feel like these staircases are going to be more populated.
Mm-hmm.
So then I would go down that staircase and I would make my way towards the marina and get on a boat. So that would be my personal strategy, but either way, it is important, regardless of where you are, to always be aware of what your strategy is and what you want to do. At this point, the important thing to remember is your goal is to survive at all costs. If zombie apocalypse happens, then you have to be prepared to do whatever it takes in order to survive, whether it be sacrifice a friend.
Too bad.
About half the time when I do this presentation, I grab the slowest person in the room. So, fair warning. You probably don't want to be by a companion if you're...
I'm so fast.
Oh,
Don't have to worry.
My
I now know the thriller dance, so I will blend in no problem.
Now, this is fairly simple. You can see that this is a slow zombie. So, she's weak.
Well, no, engaging
Exactly.
conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm gonna give you guys
She's also definitely going for brains. So we're just going to shove her over here. Yeah. Now, she's stunned. But she's certainly not. Nope, nope. Come over here. Come over here. Yeah. Yeah. Tasty brains over here. Now, as I said, barrier. So, now, as I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure that you have some kind of weapon, some kind of constant preparedness for this situation. And just to make sure. Now, of course, I'm going to keep this with me at all times. I might even, just to make sure.
That's her brains?
No, just a beanbag.
Oh.
I just wanted to make sure that she wasn't going to move anymore with a small stimulus. So, now that I know that she came out of here, I'm just going to check real quick to make sure we don't have any additional zombies. And we appear to be good. So as I was saying, survival at all costs, whether it be a single zombie or a horde. Any questions? Excellent. You've all been excellent students. Feel free to look over the materials on the floor and enjoy your lunch.
Hey,
Yay.
I was with Eddie. I wanted to engage her.
engaging conversation. I have friends that